It is 2 in the morning. You are lying in the dark, bathed in the blue glow of your phone, swiping through the curated life of someone you no longer speak to. The standard advice for this moment is always the same: give it time. We treat moving on as a simple test of willpower, assuming the days and weeks will naturally wash away the attachment. But this chart shows a different reality. When researchers tracked the emotional bonds people have with their former partners, they found the attachment decays slowly, much like a radioactive isotope. The half-life of that emotional bond is roughly 4 years. That persistent ache represents a severe, cascading shock across multiple interconnected systems. When a deep bond is severed, the human body and mind register a tangible physical crisis. To understand why a breakup hurts so much and why it lasts so long, we have to stop looking at it as a single emotional event. We need to diagnose the human being as 3 distinct failing systems: the hardware, the software, and the user. We typically frame romantic love as poetry or abstract feeling. Biologically, it is a primitive, hardwired mammalian drive engineered to ensure our species survives and reproduces. Biological anthropologist Dr. Helen Fisher put people experiencing intense romantic love inside an fMRI scanner to see what this drive looks like inside the skull. An fMRI, or functional magnetic resonance imaging, is a technique that measures brain activity by detecting changes associated with blood flow. The scans revealed massive activation in the ventral tegmental area, or VTA, a central node responsible for producing dopamine. Deep within the basal ganglia, the brain chemically codes the partner as a core necessity, equating their physical presence with access to food or water. When that partner is suddenly gone, the brain registers a critical threat to its homeostasis. The nervous system plunges into a state identical to physical drug withdrawal, craving the neurochemical fix the partner used to provide. Telling someone to use willpower to stop texting their ex is biologically illogical. The highest reasoning centers of the brain are completely outmatched by a primitive reward system screaming for survival. While the hardware is fighting chemical withdrawal, the mind's cognitive software starts catching in continuous, unresolvable loops. In 1927, psychologist Bluma Zygarnik was studying in Berlin when she noticed a quirk among cafe waiters. They could remember complex, unpaid orders with perfect clarity, but the moment a bill was settled, the memory vanished entirely. This became known as the Zygarnik effect. The brain is programmed to aggressively hold on to the memory of an interrupted task, keeping it active in working memory until completion. This animation shows how a breakup acts as the ultimate interrupted task. All the projected futures, plans, and unresolved arguments become an agonizing, unclosed loop in our cognitive software, refusing to be archived. This open loop generates a psychological state called limerence. It is an obsessive longing fueled by uncertainty, thriving where there is enough hope to keep the attachment alive, but enough doubt to prevent resolution. We try to resolve this uncertainty by checking their social media. Seeing a new photo or a vague status update acts as intermittent reinforcement, a psychological mechanism where inconsistent rewards create highly addictive trauma bonds, pulling us deeper into the obsession. Staring at an ex's profile serves a purely mechanical function. It is the brain's desperate, misguided attempt to find the final piece of missing data required to close a loop that simply cannot be closed. If the hardware is in withdrawal and the software is trapped in a loop, the final failure happens at the level of the user, the holistic concept of who you actually are. In the late 19th century, psychologist William James observed that human identity is not a singular, solid object. He noted that we possess as many social selves as there are individuals who recognize us, reflecting different facets of our personality to different people. This diagram shows the self-expansion model in action. When 2 people enter a close relationship, their boundaries blur, expanding their own sense of self through the other person. Psychologists call this the Michelangelo phenomenon. Like a sculptor carving away stone, a partner's encouragement brings out new traits that solidify into permanent parts of your identity. When that relationship ends, it takes the mirror with it. The specific version of you that existed solely in their presence, the traits they encouraged, the jokes only they understood, suddenly has nowhere to live. The deepest, most disorienting pain of a breakup is the literal collapse of a newly expanded identity, leaving you physically intact but psychologically fractured. We have neurochemical withdrawal in the hardware, infinite open loops in the software, and a collapsed identity at the user level. Understanding this machinery makes it clear why passive advice like "just give it time" fails. Time alone does not cure an addiction, debug a cognitive loop, or rebuild a shattered sense of self. Closing the software loop requires strict digital hygiene. You have to cut off the intermittent reinforcement entirely, blocking the social media feeds that sustain the cycle of hope and doubt. Resolving the identity crisis requires an active reconstruction. You have to identify the exact traits your former partner brought out in you, the humor, the patience, the spontaneity, and intentionally practice them, completely independent of their presence. Recovery is not about reverting to who you were before you met them. True healing is an act of retrieval. It is looking into the wreckage of the relationship, retrieving the expanded version of yourself, and carrying it forward into the light.